Hello, my name is Peter Parfitt and welcome to New Brick Workshop. Now, following on from my recent video about doing this garage floor, I said I was going to show you how to make some chocks so the car wouldn't run too far forward. I'm in the process of doing that, but I thought I'd just give you the sort of final look at how this has turned out. Now, the floor itself has had 3 coats and it's absolutely brilliant. You can see now I've created quite a bit of space. The car can get in here. I've got my compressor in the corner over there. And I'll show you what I did to make the compressor just a little bit tidier. And in particular over here where I've got my Airline. And actually doing all this has given me the opportunity to sort out things like my compressor, and particularly its Airline. I've got this heavy duty black Airline, which you can see here. And somewhere over in this corner, I will join it onto the retractable Airline here. And this then allows me to use it outside if I'm doing the tyres of the car, or in the workshop where I can use this yellow line going that way. Now I've decided I want my Airline to go round about here. It'll be out of the way of the door mechanism. And in order to do that, and also to have this so that it can be removed at any time, I've made up a bracket. And you might be able to see this sort of bracket arrangement. And there'll be a bolt going through to hold the reel to the bracket, but that bolt won't have a nut on the end. It'll just go straight through and it should support it like so. That's the idea anyway. And it's going to fit inside this gap here. And that way it can be actually fixed to the real wall rather than the dry wall, because at times there might be a bit of strain on this. So what I've got to do is to place this where I want it to go and then mark it. Now you may remember not so very long ago I had a chap here who was putting our charger for an electric vehicle here. And when he came to mark holes, he used one of these, and this is called a Marksman. And I saw it and I thought, that's a really neat idea. And I was shopping in Axminster Tools and Machinery not so very long ago. I saw one on the shelf and so I bought it. Here it is. And this will be the first time that I use it. Now it's very simple. It consists of a little cylinder which is under pressure, which has got some green paint in it. Or it might be powder, I don't know what it is, but anyway, it's green. And the idea then is that you push this up against the gadget. In my case, it'll be this. You push it up against here, and a squirt of this liquid or powder, whatever it is, goes through there and marks where the hole is on the other side. And then you can drill. So that's what I'm going to do now. Now, when you use this, you've got to line up one of the splines on here with a little notch in this part of the gadget, and that way it allows you to do a squirt. I've just done it and I realised I was slightly too high, so I'm just lowered it a bit. I'm going to do this again, and I don't know if you can see, I hope you can. Green and green, that tells me where to drill. Right, so there we go, nifty bit of kit. I can now drill those holes. Well, I actually suck up a lot of dust, either brick dust like this or plaster dust, and every now and again one does need to change the main filter on your extractor. So I'll be doing that shortly with my little CT6 and also my CT26. I'm just going to put these raw plugs in. They're a bit difficult to get in properly. In order to help them in, I've got this little piece of wood. And with those raw plugs in, I can now fit this. Well, everything seems to line up okay. Well, that's that bracket in place. Now to test it. That's it. It's there and perfectly firm. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I do need to check that the door will open and close, but actually I'm sure it will. Now I've attached two eyes, screw-in eyes to the wall, one there and one there, and I've used some sort of thin ropey stuff to hold the majority of the spare hose there, and just to support this where it goes into this reel. Now the idea is that there might be a time when I need to actually remove this from here and use this spare black hose in order to get to somewhere important. So there we go. So this will stretch to where I need it in the workshop, and it's all neatly tucked away. And there it is, and the door can open and close, and this is nice and firm. So I'm rather pleased with that. And this is for use in the workshop and also for doing the tyres on the car. And I've got a little hook here so that the Airline can be held out of place. Now, at the time I started the filming, my curly-whirly bit of Airline here was my old yellow one, which I'd had for, I should think, probably 25 years, maybe even 30. And I heard, when I turned the compressor on, a little hiss, and there was a tiny hole in the plastic. So I've thrown it away, and I've just bought a new one from Screwfix. It was about £15, and it's jolly good. Now, there were only about 8 reviews for this on Screwfix, and 2 of them said, oh, you know, these end pieces are not very strong, and they strip the threads when you put the connector in. I didn't have any problem at all. Anyway, so that's the new Airline. That's all set up, and I can use this both in the workshop and for the car. Now, I want to put a hook in about here to hold this out of the way when it's not in use. It's my tyre inflator. So what I'm going to do is to use one of these crafty things here. It's one of these gadgets that goes into plasterboard or drywall. It's got a very coarse thread here, and then once it's screwed into place, you can screw something into it. The only issue is that when you screw something into it, it mustn't be so tight that it makes this turn, because that can strip the thread union between it and the plasterboard. So you've got to be careful. Maybe even do a test before you install it. And these do got pretty tight. I'm very pleased with that. And I've got a hook here. But my worry is that when this hook is screwed in and my plastic bit of tubing is put over it, that this might be just a little bit too small a diameter and might damage that tubing. So I've got here some very warm water. In fact, it's really, really warm. In fact, I would say it's too hot to put my fingers in. So I'm warming up a piece of tubing, and you can see how fine this tubing is. And this tubing is just slightly tight on the hook. But by warming it up, I should be able to get it on. Right, that ought to be warm enough. Now let's see how I get on. Now, this is not the easiest thing in the world to do in front of a camera. So I want you to trust me when I say it's not difficult at all. It's mainly because this end is sharp. Yep, that's done it. And now you can see my hook. It's got the screw that goes into the wall here, and then I've got this piece of tubing on there. I could trim that bit off. In fact, I will, but I'm not going to trim it off so it's flush with the end of the metal hook. I'm going to leave it still slightly proud. And there that is, I've trimmed it. It's just got a little bit of extra, which means that as I hook the tube around, it's not going to really scratch itself against the metal here. So I'm now going to fit this. Right, so there it is in now, and I'll just put this over, and that's my little tyre inflator neatly tucked out of the way. Well, that's it for this short video. The next video will actually show the making of the chocks, and I'm going to have one each side for the front wheels of the car. So when I drive the car in, I don't drive into the drywall at the end. Many thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.